We continue now at the top of Daf Yud Tesam Beis in Mesechet Kesuvos. This is Kesuvos Daf 19b. The Gemara is continuing to explain why it is that a person is not supposed to have a shtar amona in his house. Again, a shtar amona is a situation where the lova gives a shtar to the malva on the trust that the malva is not actually going to collect anything until there actually is a loan. Essentially, the document is written up before the loan actually takes place, and it's not a good thing to have those in your house because, again, it leads to corruption, it leads to injustice. Let's say the malva collects from the lova when there really was not a loan in existence. And the Gemara says, V'yamar Rav Sheshes B'rei de Ravidi, and Rav Sheshes B'rei de Ravidi said, Shma mi nami de Rav Kahana. We see from Rav Kahana, Eidim she'amru, that if Eidim say, Amona hayu devarenu, that this was just a shtar amona, einem mon, and they are not believed. My time, and what's the reason? Kevon da'avlahu, because since this is something that's considered an injustice, a'avla lo chasmi. You're never going to have a situation where Eidim are going to sign on an avla, and therefore, again, they're not really believed to say that they signed such a thing, because that would be making themselves into Rishoim. And the Gemara continues along the same lines. Amar Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi. Rabbi Yoshua ben Levi says, Asur lo adam sheyisha shtar parua besoch beis. A person is not allowed to have a shtar that's already been paid off in his house. Again, he might use that to collect the second time. Mishum shenemar, because the pasuk says, the same pasuk, al tashkin be'olecha avla. Again, you can't have injustice inside of your tents, inside ohalecha, and therefore it is a problem to have such a shtar in your house. B'ma'arava mishmei de Rav Amri, in the west, in the name of Rav, they said, Im oven biyodcha harchikeyu. It says that if there's injustice in your hands, so then you have to distance it. That's actually the same pasuk in Eov. Zeh shtar amona ushtar pasim. That refers to shtar amona. Again, shtar amona, the same like we said before, where you're just trusting the person that he's not going to collect before the loan. Shtar pasim is a shtar where they would give a person a shtar that says that they owe the person money, but really they weren't going to pay the person any money. They didn't owe him any money. They're just doing it to try to make the person look like he's wealthy. That would be a benefit to that person. So that's also a problem to have a shtar pasim. That also leads to a kind of injustice. That's the pasuk when it says imavin biyodcha harchikeyu. And then the second part of the pasuk, ve'al tashkin be'olecha avla. You can't have injustice in your tents. Zeh shtar parua. That refers to a shtar that's already been paid off. And the Gemara explains, Man do amar shtar parua. The one who says that you can't have a shtar parua in your house, kol shekein shtar amana. You certainly cannot have a shtar amana in the house. That's even worse. However, man do amar shtar amana. The one that says that amana is considered an injustice, aval shtar parua lo. But it could be a shtar parua is not considered an injustice. Why? The zimnin demashi leapshite de safra. Because sometimes the malva will hold on to a shtar that's already been paid because money is still owed to the scribe. It's kind of like a collateral to force the lova to pay the fee of the scribe. Rashi over here says, the obligation rests on the borrower to pay schar hasofer, to pay the wages of the scribe. Sometimes he doesn't have that money, and the malva is the one that pays it. And then the malva goes and collects that as well at the time of payment. That's why he holds back the shtar to get that last bit of money. So it could be a shtar parua. It's not always considered an avla to hold that. It's not always considered an injustice. And the Gemara continues, Itmar, it was learned, Sefer She'eino Muga. Let's say you have a situation of a Sefer Torah that has not been proofread, so it's not a properly written Sefer Torah. Amar Rabbi Ami says, Ad lamed yom mutar l'shosa. You can have it with you, you can keep it for 30 days, Mikan va'ilach, but from then on, asr l'shosa, it's asr to keep that, Mishum Shanamar, for the same reason, because the pasuk says, Al tashkein bo alecha avla, you can't have injustice in your tents. And the Gemara continues, Amar of Nachman says, Eidim sha'amru amona hayu devarenu. If the Eidim say that this was just an amona, again like a shtar amona, ein amona, and they're not believed. Moda hayu devarenu. But if they say there was a declaration together, so there ein amonim. So there, according to Rav Nachman, also they're not believed in that case. And Rashi over here says, Moda hayu devarenu means to say, Im shtar mecheru. Let's say it's a situation of a document of a sale. V'yamru Eidim hachasumim bo, and the Eidim who signed it, they say, Hamocher moser moda b'fanenu, that the seller, he made a declaration in front of us. Verenu onso v'yikarnu, and he showed how he was really forced into this situation, and we recognize that. In other words, we wrote up this document, but he declared before us that this document is really not true. It's something that he's being forced into. So Rav Nachman says they're not believed to say that as well. As Rashi says, Ein ne'emonim de lo asi al peh umar le shtar, because here we have a shtar, a document in front of us, and their testimony, their oral testimony, is not going to be enough to undo the shtar. But the Gemara continues, Mar bar Rav Ashi says, Amona hayu devareinu ein amonim. If they say that it's an amona, yeah, that's true, they're not believed. However, moda hayu devareinu, if they say that there was a declaration made together with this shtar, and again, therefore the shtar is not good, ne'amonim, in that case, they actually are believed, according to Mar bar Rav Ashi. My time, what's the reason? Hai nitan lichasev, hai lo nitan lichasev, because one is something that should have been written in the first place, and the other was one that never should have been written. And Rashi over here explains, moda nitan la'edim lichtov es hashtar. It makes sense, it's something appropriate for Edom to write such a shtar moda, because really they're trying to do something good. They're trying to help this person who's being coerced. But amana lo nitan lihikase, but amana is something you should never write. The avla havoy, that's already an injustice. There, if they say they signed an amana, they're making themselves into rishoim. And a person is not believed to render himself a rasha. And the Gemara continues, Boy minei Rava mir Rav Nachman. Rava asked Rav Nachman the following question: Tanai hayu devareinu ma? What if the Edom say that we signed the shtar, but there was a condition that accompanied the shtar? Rashi over here says, Tanai hayu devareinu al Tanai mochrolo. The sale was made with a condition. Sheyasa lo kach v'kach, he has to do such and such. V'lo reinu shekayim lo tano. We have not seen the fulfillment of this Tanai. V'zo omer lo kayim li veinu mecher. And the guy is saying, look, it's not a sale because the Tanai was not fulfilled. So in such a situation, are they believed to say that the sale was built upon a Tanai? What's the halacha? Ma, what's the halacha? Moda v'amona hainu taima. Maybe by moda and amona, the reason why they're not believed is to akri le the shtar. There, they're actually undoing the shtar, which that's not possible. They're undoing the shtar. V'hainami kakar l'shtara. And here also maybe you'll say that this is trying to undo the shtar by putting in a condition. Odilm, or maybe you'll say no, Tanai milsa achrisi, a condition that's something else altogether. Rashi over here says Odilm mahalo akarta the shtar. Who maybe they're not really uprooting the shtar by saying there's a Tanai. The modim heim shashtar emes. They're admitting the shtar is true. Elisha Tanai haya beineim. Just there was some condition among them. Vizu edus acherisi. That's like an independent testimony. Ushtar memela miakar. The shtar is just being uprooted memela leachar zman b'yom shalokayim tano bizmanim, because the Tanai wasn't fulfilled in the proper time. That's what's uprooting the shtar. But their edus is not uprooting the shtar. So Amar Lei, so he said to him, Ki asu l'kamon ladina, when they come before us in such a court case and they say there was a Tanai, Amrinan lahu, what we do is we say to them, Zilu kaimu Tanaichu, you have to go and fulfill that Tanai. V'chuzu ladina, and then come to the court if the sale still doesn't go through. Rashi says, Amrinan lahu zilu kaimu Tanaichu l'bailim, we say you have to fulfill your condition to the owners. V'chuzu ladinim yakiv shova karka, and then if still he's not giving you the karka, then you can come to court. In other words, we do believe that there was a condition in this case, and therefore we tell the person to fulfill the condition. And the Gemara continues, Eid Omer Tanai, V'Eid Omer Eino Tanai. What if one Eid says there was a Tanai, and the other one says there was not a Tanai? So Amar Rav Papa says, Tarvayu B'Shtarim Aliyah Kamasadi. Both of them are testifying that this was a good shtar. V'Haidu Kamar Tanai, Havalechad, and the person who's saying there was a condition on it, that's just one person. V'Ein Devar of Shalachad B'Makom Shnaim, and you can't have the word of one against the word of two, and therefore the one who's claiming there's a condition, we ignore that testimony. And the Gemara continues, Maskif la Rav Huna B'Reider Rav Yoshua. So Rav Huna B'Reider Rav Yoshua asked, Ihachi, if so, if that's the case, Afilu Tarvayu Nami, then even if both of them would say that, we should not believe that there was a condition. Rashi over here says, Ihachi Afilu Tarvayu Nami, Elo Amrinon, Ihachi the Kevon Sheir al Ksav Yadu Asisol Azeh Echad, Mimekaime Hashtar, Kemoshu Kosu Below tonight. If you're already saying that when a person says this is my signature, so then you're saying this is a good shtar as if it's written without a Tanai. V'Havaluhu Eid of Shnayim, and you have two witnesses over here. Divrei Echad b'Makom Shnayim, and then the later person just one against two. So Afilo Tarvayu Nami Amri Tanai Hayu Divrenu. Even if they both say it's a condition, Lolis Haminu, they shouldn't be believed. Dekeivan Shayidu Aksav Yod and Kaimu Ashtar Kemoshu Kasu, because once they testify on their signatures, so they're certifying the shtar as it is written. V'chi Amri Tanai Hayu Divrenu. If they're coming back subsequently and saying that it was a condition, Havilu Magidim v'Chozer Magidim. That's Chozer Magid. That's trying to retestify. Ve'amai Amar of Nachman Kaimu Tanaichu. So therefore, why did Rav Nachman say they have to fulfill the condition? Even if both of them are saying there's a condition, we should not actually believe that there's a condition. Ella, rather, Amrinan, we say, Hani l'miakar sadai sayu kasu. This guy who's coming, these people, let's say it's two of them, they're coming and they're trying to uproot. Hainami l'miakar saduse kasi. So too over here, this guy, he's trying to uproot the testimony. Rashi over here says, El al karchach lav chasima mikuyemesu. Obviously, what we're saying is that this is not really considered a certified signature when they say there's a Tanai. Let's say both of them say that. Because since Tochidei Dibur, they're saying, yes, this is our signature, but there was a Tanai. So they're basically undoing the certification that they just said. They're basically saying we only signed on a condition, that there was a condition fulfilled. And since we're going to consider the Tanai something independent, it's not an uprooting. It's just an uprooting after the fact. It's not similar to Moda and Amana. And they're believed Eidus b'fnei atzmi, it's considered an independent Eidus. So Hainami, so when you have one Eid also, Kisayim v'yomar Tanai have it, when he finishes and says there was a condition, he's undoing his chasim. He's saying, I only signed on a condition. So we should really consider, like, there's only one aid signed on the shtar, and actually when one aid says there was a tanai, we actually should say that undoes the shtar. That's what the Gemara means to say. He's coming and he's undoing his edus. And the Gemara says, and the halacha is, it's exactly like we just said over here. The halacha is like Rav Huna Breder Rav Yoshua, that even if one aid says that he signed on a condition, that we're going to assume that there was a condition, and therefore this is not a good shtar. And the Gemara continues, Tana Rabban, and the rabbis taught, Shnayim chasumen al ashtar umesu. Let's say you have two people signed on a shtar and they die. Uvo shnayim in ashuk v'yamru yadanu shachsav yadamu. And two people come from the marketplace and they say, we know that this is their signature. Aval anusim hayu, ketanim hayu, psulei edus hayu, but they signed, they were forced when they signed, or they were minors, or they were disqualified. So in this case, they are believed to say that. But let's say there are other Edom who say it's their signature. Sheksav Yodam who said that this is their signature. Or let's say you have their signatures from some other document that you can verify. Mishtar, Shekar Olavir, or let's say there was another shtar, and there was some kind of protest on that shtar, and that shtar was already certified in Bezdin. So now you have independent corroboration that this is their signatures. So Ein Elu Ne'emonim. So then these people that are saying that they were forced, or they were minors, or they were disqualified are not believed. And we collect with it like it is a good shtar. And the Gemara asks, but why is this the case? Why is it that if we independently certify the shtar, so no one else can come later and say they were anusim, ketanim, psulei edus? Treyu treinin, and we should say that it's 2 against 2. As Rashi over here says, Treyu treinin, edei ashtar beis, ve'elu beis, midim aleim shepsulam hayabosasha. You have the 2 witnesses on the shtar, they're considered 2 witnesses, and there are 2 others that saying that when they signed they were puzzle. It should be 2 against 2, and therefore it should cancel out. The shtar should not be a good shtar. And the Gemara says, Amar Rav Sheisha says, Zosomeris, this halacha proves that when you have a contradiction in terms of Edus, that's the beginning of falsification. We have a concept of hachosha by Edom, when you have 2 sets of Edom that contradict one another. And we also have a concept where Edom falsify the first set of Edom by saying, you were with us, there was no way that you could know this testimony. We'll continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Chaf Amud Aleph.